Hello and welcome. You're on you're watching Morgan Hazelwood and I am celebrating having 300 subscribers. So this is all thanks to you. I am honored. I am thrilled. I am here. Thank you all for coming. Let's check the chat and see who is here. Uh, Ward, thank you, and thanks for the congrats. Lizzie, thank you for coming. Devin, uh, Eva is here. Hello. And Rick's Rocket, the rescue dog, is here. Thank you all for coming. I'm super excited that you all decided to give up some of your Thursday evening or whatever time zone you're in to come visit with me. So, thank you. So, in honor of my 300th, instead of just saying, woohoo, y'all are awesome, because I can't really have cake, what with the whole being virtual and the whole no big gatherings, and I don't even think 300 people are close enough to visit Virginia right now. So, hello, I have a Bethany. Thank you for coming. So, instead, I'm going to be celebrating with an Ask Me Anything. This is entirely Bex, the novel Nana's fault, because she joined me for my live stream write-in on Chat. But the novel Nana also sent me 10 questions to get started. Hello, Kelly. Glad you could make it. So I'm going to pop over to these questions and let's see. The first question I had was, what was the first book that you read that made you go, I want to write like that? Well, that's actually a really hard question for me because I don't remember not wanting to be a writer. Even as a small child, my mother was a librarian. I learned to walk at sci-fi and fantasy conventions, and so writing books, creating books always was something I knew people did, and I knew it didn't pay the bills, so I'd need another job as well. So I guess you could say that the first book, many other writers that have inspired me. I know I spent quite a while enjoying Anne McCaffrey and Mercedes Lackey, and Lois Bujold and many, many others. But yeah, writing has always been something I wanted. Even if I stepped away for a while and really confused my mother when, her wanting to be a writer daughter and her other daughter who took the advanced math in high school got to college and I went into computer science and my twin went into English. Mom's like, wait, who did what? So in the comments, Devin, yes, you can ask, but no guarantee I'll answer it. Sako made it. Hello. I hope your game, I think it was Werewolf, went well. And Ward loved Anne and Mercedes as well. So, the next question I have on my list is, who are 5 authors I love to read? Wow. So, this was really, really hard. Luckily, it was asked in advance, so I could think long and hard about what my answer was going to be. The first 3 were pretty easy, because these are the people who jumped to the top of my to-read list anytime. Patricia Briggs, Shannon Maguire, and Lois Bujold. Always top 3. Next, there are a lot of series I have been following, and if you are a sequel in a series I've been following for years or decades or my entire life or adult life, then you're probably gonna, jump to the front of my to read pile, no matter how big it is right now. It almost fits on a 3-shelf high bookcase. I've been trying to read it down, but that's not counting my Kindle to read list. So let's see. I also really enjoy Sharon Lee and Steve Miller, and in the slightly oh, I can't remember her name off the top of the moment. I, of course, enjoy some steamy romances, some urban fantasy. I like Sherilyn Kenyon or McQueen. She's currently not publishing because of some legal issues. And I've been enjoying some Scarlett Peckham if you want some of the like raunchier stuff out there. But yeah, my top favorite author right now is Shannon McGuire. Anything she writes. So, okay, let's see. What else do we have? Eva asks, what is my favorite color? Dark red. It used to be silver, and then I graduated college, and I was moving into a place of my own, and it had a different size bed, so I needed a new mat or sheets and a new blanket comforter. And I was at the store, and this is in the days before camera phones, and I'm talking to my mom, and I'm like, okay, I'm debating between this gold one and this kind of patchwork red quilted fabric one. And my mom goes, choose the red one, you look better in red. And I said, Mom, it's a bed, I'm not going to be wearing it. And she said, you look better in red. Who am I to gainsay my mother? So ever since then, I've leaned more towards dark red. Bright red is sometimes painful on the eyes, but yeah. So dark red. I mean, I was going to show you my laptop, but it might mess up the camera, so let me not. But it has, I think you've seen the picture. The image for this has my laptop with its screen of red and flowers and stuff. So, let's see. MM Ward says, Mount TBR, to be read, will never be conquered. So true. So true. The novel Nana made it. Hello and welcome back. Let's see. Eva asks, do I read the dedications at the front of books I start to read? Sometimes. Sometimes I don't. Especially on Kindle, it makes it very easy to start right at the... and if there's a lot of stuff at the beginning, I might just skip ahead. But yeah. So I'm going to jump back to my list of questions and then take some more from the audience. Let's see. How does it feel to have achieved this milestone? Shocked? Excited? Wish more people would actually watch all my videos and engage, not just sub for sub. Obviously, I'm not talking about you people. You showed up, you're celebrating with me, you are my watchers, you are my loving fans. But there are a lot of people who, you know, follow you, wait for the follow back, and then never look at a video. And I have to say, I'm really bad at watching videos. I need to get better at it, so I can't really call out people for something I have tendencies towards myself. But, you know, I see 300 as a step towards 500, maybe. Maybe in the next 3 years, who knows. I am clearly not... turning or, you know, devoting my life to getting more viewers, but yeah, I enjoy having viewers, and I really like it when people come and say hi. So thank you. So let's see. Popping back into the chat. Dal asks, did I try any Finnish candy? And if so, what is my favorite? So I know they like licorice there, and I don't do anything on the bitter spectrum. Um, some of their chocolate was a little too sweet, but I didn't actually try that much candy when I was in Helsinki. So I'm trying to remember. It was about 3 years ago now. So um, I remember trying a few interesting foods, but sometimes when you're far from home, you look for comfort food. So Kelly asks, "What is my favorite line from the movie 300?" My brain is not great at remembering single lines. I mean, there's the classic "This is Sparta" where he like kicks the dude into the pit. Um, I liked the concept, the whole conceit of this might not be true, but this is how it grew in the stories, and you can see this is the way that it was told to the people that it happened. So it was, reality adjacent. um let's see. Back to the comments. Eva liked my answer. Red is her son's favorite color at the moment, but for unknown reasons. And Rick's Rocket, the rescue dog, says he is surprised at how few followers I have and thinks I'm wonderful. Thank you. I really appreciate it. You are a very supportive friend, and I really feel supported when you chime in. So, bouncing back to the comments, the novel Nana asks if I answered her first 10, and I am just up to question 4. So no, I started on them, but I have not answered them yet. So question number 4 from Bex, the novel Nana, is what advice do I have for others who dream of writing and publishing a book? Well, I'm not published yet, but I have gobs of advice, both from things I've learned personally and from writer panels that I've attended. Hence, I have a blog and a vlog and a podcast. But I guess my biggest advice is that it can take so much longer than it seems like it should. When you first set out and you're like, I'm gonna write 80,000 words, it seems like this huge, insurmountable task. And once you've made that first draft, that was the easy part. That was the quick part. Nothing else is as quick as that first draft. I mean, clearly you can go through editing rounds. You can cut out all your instances of just in your story. And once you've finally made that decision to self-publish and gotten everything together, things can move at your pace. But I'm currently still pursuing the traditional route, and that can take years. I have not counted out going traditional or self-publishing, but I'm not ready to make that step yet because, to be honest, it intimidates me. It's as long as I'm not published, I can always rewrite. I can always polish my work. I can always say, well, it wasn't selected because it's not ready yet. If I put it out there and it flops, that just means I suck. So yeah, I think people who self-publish are incredibly brave, and I know how much work it is to market yourself, to put yourself out there, and to see people either, loving your work, hopefully, or giving you 1-star reviews because you're not the ham sandwich they wanted, because people are horrible with reviews. But yeah, my biggest advice is to ignore the naysayers, listen to those who are supportive but are pushing you to improve. Don't listen to the ones who are like, rah, rah, everything you do is perfect. I mean, they're nice. They're definitely helpful, but it's good to know that you're getting an honest feedback. So, bouncing over to the comments after that very long, wordy answer, Bex says, y'all love me. Aw. Eva says, I love that. Real watchers. I'm a pretend watcher. I have your give you views, and from time to time I'm even paying attention. I have definitely gone to channels and listened for about 5 minutes and then muted the channel but let it finish running because I don't want to give you short runtime, but I'm distracted by 5 other things. I'm the girl who I can't even listen to TED Talks because I'll turn them on and 40 minutes later realize I only listened to the first 3 minutes. I'm definitely working on that, but I'm not quite there yet. So let's see. Kelly said, time for me to move on to the next question. Tamara swung by, hello, and said, congratulations, thank you so much. You are such an inspiration to me. You do such amazing stuff, and I pre-ordered your book. So let's see in the comments. Dal is sad? I don't know. Oh, because I didn't try enough Finnish candy. I'm sorry. I'll try more next time if I ever get to leave Virginia again. Eva says she's doing pretty okay and about to eat a late dinner. It's not cake, but it counts. Understandable. Let's see. Eva asks Dal, they've never had any Finnish candy, so what kind should I try if I ever get the chance? Let's see. Did Dal answer? Not yet. Dal's still thinking about where to start. Rick's Rocket, the rescue puppy, sent a heart. Eva is laughing at my list social media link because I have a huge list and the last thing I have is YouTube. Wait, that's where you are. Let's see. Eva says, I just don't read, so I stay. Rah rah. Rick's Rocket's Human has been traditionally published and it was freaking scary. I can only imagine because with self-publishing, everything's on you, but with traditional publishing, there's so much you can't do, and that are out of your hands and out of your control. And so both ways are pretty intimidating, but they're the only way to have your book find its home. Let's see. Bex asks, where the fart knocker is everyone? Where are the other 296 that are subbed to you? I can understand some might be in other streams or busy or offline. I know. Clearly they have better things to do on a Thursday night. Eva says she fast forwards and speed up video and stay for at least 30 full seconds, and refresh and do it twice if they have ads. But also watch a lot. Not all her views are muted. So I think I caught up on chat. Let's switch back to the Q&A. Let's see. What is something I wish I would have known when I only had 20 subscribers? Well, live streams seem way more popular than my vlog posts. And if you want to get more subs, find the community, get involved, and live stream. I'm still producing my vlog. That's not going away. It's part of my blog editing process. It's now the vocals for my podcast. But I'm definitely getting into the live stream, the write-ins and things, and feeling like I'm getting my footing there a little bit. Thanks to everyone who's live streamed with me or invited me onto your live stream. I've caught the bug, I guess, as it were. Number 6, who is my favorite character I've written and why? So, Bex, you're asking me to pick between my imaginary children, and they all call to me in different ways. Um, Usually, whoever I'm currently writing is my favorite. Um, I have a soft spot for all of them. Um, and right now, the one that's stuck in my head is the one that doesn't even exist yet. She has no name. She has a vague plot and a vague world, and she's coming in November. But I don't have a favorite character yet. I've definitely promoted tertiary characters to secondaries because of my fans, or my beta reader saying, "Oh my God, are they gonna kiss?" Ashley, you're not watching, but that's on you. um, but yeah, I can't actually pick a favorite character that I've written. Let's see. So, Rick's Rocket likes fart knocker as a word. Eva says, probably a big percentage of those subs never watch lives, which is true. There are people from all over the world, and this might be a bad time of day for 80% of them. Devin, yes, all the cool people are clearly here. Kelly liked the last question. Eva and Devin gave each other shout outs. And let's see. Rick's Rocket, the Rescue Pup, says, what scared me about traditional publishing is how mercenary it is and how not about the art. They were younger and idealistic then. I've done a lot of research, so I think I have a decent grasp on the difference between the marketing publishing department and the editors. But I understand there's definitely some crossover and some very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Not militant, but it'll come to me. Mercenary, very mercenary, which is the word you used. Oh, Eva just subscribed to my newsletter. It's just links to my blog posts. You can opt to have the version where you get the full text, just the links, or only updates when I'm actually publishing something, or very irregular updates when I check in and let people know. So if you're getting too many emails, there's definitely a lesser option. Do not feel obligated to get all of my emails. I am not an email person myself, but I know that some people like emails. They're wrong, but I'm not going to stop them from getting my stuff in their email box. Inbox. Email box has a word, Morgan. Okay, so I'm going to pop back into this list of questions from the novel Nana. So next is, what are my writing goals for 2021? For 2021, I think my goals are to revise a novel I've drafted, to keep querying, and to revise and submit at least 2 short stories, plus whatever I do for NaNoWriMo. As I'm still going traditional, I cannot make myself get an agent. I cannot make myself be published, but I can keep querying and putting myself out there. And the follow-on question is, what is next for me for the last quarter of 2020? Right now, I am currently stalling on finishing my round of revisions on my middle grade contemporary fantasy. I hopefully will enter Pitch Wars in a week, which means I've got 100 pages to edit in like 4 days. So wish me luck. And to work on my NaNoWriMo fantasy in space story that I'm starting to get really excited about. Popping back over to the chat, let's see. Rick's Rocket, the rescue dog, says maybe things have changed in traditional publishing, but they doubt it has. And Dal says trad publishing is definitely not for softies. Indeed. Kelly is appreciating the novel Nana's lovely list of questions. And Bex asks, after doing research, she has decided to self-pub for now and possibly be a hybrid author later. I can't give up so much control and money to the trad publishing world. I think the biggest influencer for me staying on the going traditional route is I was at a panel, and one of the presenters used to be an editor for many of the very big name magazines, and has his own small press, and said that even when traditional publishing publishes your thing and gives you no marketing, that still puts a copy of your book in every Barnes and Noble and every bookstore in basically the country. And a small press just doesn't have that reach no matter how much marketing they do. And so just, their apathy is worth more than a lot of marketing. Obviously, you're not stuck with that. Obviously, things are always in flux, but that really stuck with me, and that's definitely a part of the reason I haven't gone self-pub. That and, fear, intimidation, learning a new skill. So let's see. Next question is, what has been my most proud accomplishment thus far concerning AuthorTube and writing? Well, those are two very different questions. I was super proud when I finished my first NaNoWriMo, when I finished my first book. Every book or nano that I win, I think I've won 5 times now. I've lost more than that, many more than that. But my favorite part of writing is when I realize, because of the world, because of the setting, because of the characters, because of who my character is, that the decision that they made always would have been made. And things just come together, and what brings them together. Just when those moments when you realize the thing that they did was inevitable because of who they are and where they are and when they are and everything. Just those moments of serendipity. That is what keeps me writing. My proudest moment on AuthorTube, super proud to get 300. Bouncing back to the Q&A, let's see. Rick's Rocket thinks it's super cool that the novel Nana is self-publishing, and Rick's says it has changed quite a bit since vanity publishers were a thing. Yes, self-publishing can be vanity publishing, but it can be so much more. The unfortunate problem right now is sorting the wheat from the chaff, or whatever that phrase is. Bex wishes me good luck in Pitch Wars and has more faith in me than I do that I can get the editing done. She believes I am a force to behold. And Rick's Rocket says self-publishing is a totally different paradigm now than it used to be. Bex asks, how many genres do I write in and how many pen names? I have exactly one pen name, and it is Morgan Hazelwood. Super duper huge secret, Hazelwood is actually my great-grandmother's maiden name. But I thought it went really well with the fact that I am drawn to fantasy. I have experimented in other genres, but fantasy is usually where I'm at. It's where I'm most comfortable. I have done fantasy, I have done historical fantasy, With my ginger bent Robin Hood thing, I've done contemporary fantasy. Um, I've done mythology. I've also done contemporary with like hints of horror or not. I haven't done any thrillers. I don't write hateful people. I don't like jerks. I usually write where the villain is a social problem or a systemic problem more so than an individual. Sure, there might be a figurehead, but that's not usually who my characters are fighting against. Um, so, so yeah. Uh, the novel Nana says 5 nano wins is awesome and something to be proud of. Celebrate that success. Thank you. I won my first nano in 2013, and that is the book I am actively querying. It's in revision round 8. Oh, Ward said they had a friend who got taken by a scam vanity publisher and has 300 copies of his unedited book in his garage. Amazon Print on Demand has changed everything. Novel Nana is like, oh no, I'm scared. Ward says, I use my great-grandfather's last name as a pen name. I love honoring family like that. And if you go back in your family, you can probably find a name that works. My more legal last name is infinitely less Googleable. So when you search Morgan Hazelwood, I'm like the first page and a half of results, and I like it that way. Back to the Q&A that I was sent in earlier is the final question from the novel Nana, at least, is would I consider dabbling in genres I haven't written in thus far? Of course, I would never say never. Cozy mysteries, actually mysteries aren't really my thing usually, but I'm starting to kind of warm to them. But I've never been inspired to write a mystery or a whodunit. Definitely one I thought was worth it, and I may do again sometime. So, let's see. Jumping back over to the comments, let's see. The novel Nana asks, what was my favorite fantasy book from childhood? I mean, Sarah's Unicorn, obviously. So let's see. Kelly asks, Man versus Society? Yeah, I like toppling the world order or making the adults see that they're being ridiculous about too many standardized tests or what have you. Rick's Rocket says, I like that approach. And yeah, more internet visibility is kind of key these days. Dal says her pen name is also the only Google result, and she likes it that way. Totally agree. Let's see. I thought I had one or two other questions on my Facebook. Let me look real quick. Okay, let's see. Bex asks, why is it always her fault? I mean, you gotta ask yourself these questions. Let's see. Dal asked, how do I get more involved with writing conferences? What are the required credentials and how pricey is it? That varies a lot. They can be quite pricey. For Worldcon, it was like $300 US just to attend, not counting flight, not counting hotel room. And then it went virtual, and unlike a lot of other conventions, they didn't cut the price. A lot of conventions will give you free membership, so you can attend for being a panelist, but Worldcon and World Fantasy Convention, the annual ones, do not do that. They've never done it, and so they don't want to consider it. So definitely look into whether or not becoming a panelist includes a membership or not. Some are like, if you panel 3 times, then we'll give you free membership. It counts as your volunteering or whatever. Where others are like, prove to us that you're worthy to panel. Most conventions, if you look, have a form or an email to send in if you want to volunteer to be a panelist. The way I've found to do it and was suggested to me was to write in, put my name forward. I believe I'm being asked almost more as a blogger and vlogger than a writer because I'm unpublished. But one thing I like to do is to make sure to present 2 to 3 panel ideas with title and description that I feel I would be a good fit for, especially in areas that I haven't seen that many panels in. If you've been following me for a while, you probably know I go to a weekend convention and I attend 30 panels and come home with a journal full of notes. So I have attended a lot of writing panels. I know what sort of topics they typically cover. I've attended panels on how to become a better moderator, even though I'd never been on a panel before because I was kind of eyeing it, going that direction. And as I said, I learned to walk at science fiction and fantasy conventions, so I always assumed that being on panels was part of the writing process. And eventually, someday, I would be there. And from what I've heard, George R. R. Martin at Worldcon this year, when he was not making the entire Twitterverse cringe at his Hugo ceremony, talked about how back in his day you had to have writing awards and writing credits and all sorts of things before they would ask you to come and speak. But nowadays, if you put yourself forward, especially in particular niches, then you can find yourself on a panel before being published. Things I typically are on panels for, I say typically like I'd ever been on a con. I'd been on one panel ever before the pandemic. Oh, Doc's here. Hello, Doc. He's the one who encouraged me to panel, so this is all his fault. But the panels I have been on are, what is the submission process like? So often we have people tell us what the querying process is like from the agent or the publisher's point of view, or from people who got their agent through writing connections or 20 years ago, and the market doesn't look like that anymore. And I want to hear about it from people who are actively querying and know what the market looks like today. Another thing I panel on is my beta reading process, because that's something I can talk for days about. And thanks to everyone else dropping out, monologued for an hour at 7 a.m. at Con Zealand about establishing a social media presence. Part of the reason I didn't panic is A, I had suggested the panel, and B, I'd done a 6-part series on my blog on it a couple of years ago, so I at least had some notes on that. But yeah, if you want to panel at conventions, usually they're looking for people at least 3 months in advance, typically 6 months. For larger events, it's more like a year out, like for Dragon Con or whatever. But yeah, typically, but not always, admission is included, but you have to pay your own room and board. So that's definitely things to look into. But that's how I've gotten involved. And once you start speaking, I've had more people reach out to me afterwards, just Go in, do your best, and network. Remember, everyone you're on a panel with is in the industry. The industry is very small. You want to make a good impression, and you want them to like you because then they might put you forward. So Dal asks as a follow up, so I could totally panel about writing with disabilities and how to adjust your process. Yes, that is a very popular panel that is at Balticon, which is my home convention every year. And it's really nice when new voices are on very popular panels, because there are some panels that you have every year. But if you have the same faces and the same voices, it's the same discussion, and new faces definitely mix it up. And planners do like to vary their guests. They don't want the same people every year. They want to have a new mix. They want fresh blood. They want new faces. And so I think that is something you could very easily talk about. It's something you are very knowledgeable about. And definitely you can talk about how to adapt your process. You could talk about how to include people of disabilities to make, better worlds, to make less worlds with less erasure. So going back to the comments, let's see. Rick's Rocket says, what I love is that the genres I write in are not germane to the topics I cover in my podcasts. I offer thoughts and advice that work across. I try. I like gathering information. I like being able to share, because I know not everyone can make it to conventions, and a lot of people who go to conventions would rather hang out with their friends while they're there, but it's useful to have that information after the fact. Obviously, a lot of my vlogs and blogs, when they're notes from discussions, and discussions are not necessarily bullet pointed lists. And so condensing them into a coherent, cohesive summary of the discussion in ways that can be applied to your writing can be a challenge sometimes. It really can. But I like to try to make sure that I personally got the points from it. And I like to see, and I do like to target everything on my blog with how it relates to writing, even if it's not the type of writing I do, because I might write in another genre at some point. And the more you know, the more tools you have at your disposal. So, Rick's Rocket says, answer the questions 3. Doc was off writing, so that's why he was late, and totally takes the blame for me being on panels. Let's see. Kelly said I had a brief stream error. I'm terribly sorry. I meant to live stream straight, but it had my OBS key in there, and so I had to go through OBS, so I'm still sorting it out. Next time I'll see if I can schedule and just stream live. So we'll see. Let's see. The Novel Nana asks, what was the best and worst piece of writing advice I have ever gotten? So the problem with writing advice is none of it applies to everyone. Some of the best advice for one person could completely ruin someone else's writing process, and vice versa. For me, writing every day is really draining. When I finish NaNoWriMo, I very often take like a month off because I am drained. I usually spend the end of October cleaning my house and cooking food and making sure everything's spotless. So when I coast through November, by the end of November, my house could really use me to actually step it up a little. And the holidays are coming, and they're just so busy typically. But yeah, for me, I don't want to write every day, but the best advice is to treat it like a career. You're not gonna always want to write. It's not always gonna flow. For me, I am not a sprinter. I don't do 5,000 word days, 10,000 day week, or 10,000 word weekends. If I miss a single day during NaNoWriMo, it's a struggle. I have never done a double nano, like 2 days worth of NaNoWriMo in one day. Wait, once. I've done 4,000 words once in my life. I've done 3,000 words, over 3,000, up to 5 times in my life. So I have to butt in chair, sit down, and push through. I find I'm really motivated by hitting milestones. Once I hit that 4th day in a row, 5th day in a row, I don't want to break my streak. That's how I started blogging. I saw the advice, have a writer website. You never know when the social media, the preferred social media is going to change, and this is something you can control, which is all fine and good. But I didn't want an empty, here's my name, coming soon, books that don't exist yet. So I put 1 or 2 posts up. And next thing I know, I've been blogging for going on 6 years now, vlogging for 3, and podcasting for 2 months. So, because I don't want to miss a day once I start something. So I need to apply that more strictly to my writing than I do at this time. And I've definitely, when I was working the conventions this summer, had quite a bit of burnout. I just couldn't do my writing at the same time, and I've been trying to say no more and leave more time for my writing. So Novel Nano says, I had a NaNoWriMo hangover that lasted literally 4 months. I believe it. I completely believe it. So, and the Novel Nana says, Obi-Wan Kenobi what? I don't know what Obi means. Oh, I think that's just a Star Wars joke. Eva asks, do I write short stories? I usually write long. World building is my favorite part. World building and discovering who my characters are and why they are and what they want and how they're gonna get it. Like, I am very plot focused. But last NaNoWriMo, I did a nano's worth of short stories. I have 12 short stories. I'm actively submitting 2 of them right now, trying to get published. So I find short stories fascinating because you can finish writing them in like a week. It's weird. I mean, I'm not saying finish editing them nearly that fast, but you can finish them so much more easily. Maybe not finish polishing them, but finish writing them. So yes, not very often. I usually have to set time aside for it, but yes, I do write short stories. M.M. Ward says, they never stop. Their muse is a word-vomiting hummingbird, and that's how they made 88,000 words in August, which is ridiculous and impressive, and I bow before you. The Novel Nana asks, what is my fave and least favorite tropes in the genre I write in? I write in fantasy, and my favorite tropes, I guess, I like coming of age. I like the person discovering the magic and the power within them. My least favorite tropes are probably cliches, which are, just overdone tropes. But when things seem too contrived, there's a difference between contrived and serendipity. And confused siblings. I'm an identical twin, and I've got issues on that trope, obviously. So, let's see. Oh, the Novel Nana said OBS. OBS is a software that I am using to live stream. It's an alternative to StreamYard. It is very resource hungry, um, but it has a lot more nuance and controls. You can set up the screen any way you want. You can decide what sources go in, but it's super resource hungry, and that's what I'm streaming through right now because I'd done a few streams through it, and when I set up my live stream, it assumed it was coming from a streaming service rather than me streaming directly to YouTube. So I need to figure out how to turn that off so I can just stream from my web camera through YouTube's own stuff. So, okay. Ward asks, do I have to stop world building to actually write, or do I find myself reaching a point where I'm ready to write? I am not one of those people who sits down and writes a world setting. People who do that, I think, are really great for D&D modules. I explore the world, but I love world building, and trust me, I do. My biggest focus, I'm very plot driven. I want to know what happens next. More so than I care about the color of their eyes or what color, what shape the room is in. I don't care. I want to know why she's doing what. So that's a lot of my focus. I am a planter, not a planner. I like to have an idea of my world and my setting and the tech levels and that sort of thing, but I explore the world as I write, and fill it in and watch it grow and turn into something real. And I don't have a very visual imagination. I have a conceptual imagination. I don't see things unfurling in my head like a movie or anything, and I'm not one of those people who hears the dialogue in her head, but I can tell when it's right for that character. I write and edit until it's right, and I can tell when the flavor is off and when it needs adjusting, I think is the closest I can really get to how my world building and my writing works. So, let's see. Novel Nana says, yes, Obi-Wan Kenobi and OBS was a play on words. The Novel Nana also says, holy cow, 88K? We're all in awe. Doc asks, what genre have I not written in that I'd like to? I write in any genre I feel the urge. So, there's no genre that I've been itching to write. But I've never done sci-fi before, so I'm curious to see how my fantasy and space will go. I think by giving myself permission to make it a fantasy, but in a sci-fi setting, that I might come up with something entirely different. And I really hope I do. I'm looking forward to exploring it a lot. Let's see. Eva says she's been called a word vomiting hummingbird, but never a muse. Ward asks, what would I ever do to break the cliche challenge, write challenge in not your genre? I think a whodunit is probably the furthest away from anything I've written. So that would probably be my break the genre challenge. Yes, to Novel Nana's question, OBS, yes, is software. Novel Nana asks, what is my biggest strength and biggest weakness in my writing skill and style? I think my biggest strengths are my world building and the way I can crawl in my character's head. And I think that my biggest weakness is I like to stay in my character's head, and I don't care what the room looks like. My characters are not in white rooms. I don't have like white room syndrome, which is where your characters are in featureless rooms that are totally undescribed and what have you. My people are not just talking heads, they're doing actions, they're moving around and stuff. But I care more about what they're thinking than what they're seeing or smelling or tasting or what have you. So that's a very job interview answer. My biggest weakness is also my biggest strength. But I think it's true. I think it's true. I think I get really lost in the character's head, but it makes me understand them a lot more. So let's see. Kelly says, science fantasy, yay! Sci-fi fantasy is inspiring. And MM Ward says, I love sci-fi fantasy, so many subgenres. I'm super excited, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly what my world is going to look like. I'll talk about it more probably during Preptober or whatever, as I get a better idea. So we are at 10 o'clock. It's been an hour, and I'm still answering questions. Any last questions before we call it a night? I'll give you a minute or two to think of anything else you want to ask. If not, I'm probably gonna see if I can get those edits on that middle grade fantasy of mine. So thank you all for coming out. I really appreciate it. Your support means so much to me. It really, really does. And MM Ward says #Preptober. So thank you all for coming. Thank you very much. Dell says my stream is going to be on her behind the scenes video. And Kelly asks, how was my day? My day was... Work was adequate. I was only a little distracted. I ran an errand. The weather was nice. I had a nice chat with my mom. I had dinner and it was tasty. It was adequate, you know, about all most days during this pandemic have been, with me living in this chair 14 hours a day. Eva says, this was fun. Great questions, great answers. Thank you. And congrats again. Thank you. Aw. And the Novel Nana asks if I enjoy the Q&A. Yes, I did. I felt a little awkward, but not as awkward as I thought I would, and I clearly can ramble for an hour, but I couldn't have done it without you and your seed questions. Thank you very much. Bex, the Novel Nana, whatever you want to go by. Aww. Devin and Eva said #Morgan is awesome. Rix asks, what am I drinking? I'm drinking what I usually write with. Tap water. Nothing exciting. Actually, this cup is full and this cup is empty. I have the same cup. Wherever it is, it's my water cup, and I just fill it around. Kelly says, cool, I passed with flying colors. MM Ward says, spam the chat. Aw, spam the chat to show our love. Thank you all for coming. Have a lovely evening. If you are attending Imaginarium convention, I am on a panel on Friday at 4 on NaNoWriMo, and Saturday at 11 a.m. on why you should start a blog and how. And of course, Sunday, 4:30 p.m., I'll have my live stream write-in. Bring your work, bring your knitting, just can't come and hang out. It's a lazy afternoon. And no pressure to actually be productive in any way, shape, or form. The Novel Nana said, just wanted to say congrats again, so proud of you, and hope you have a wonderful night. Aw. So, thank you all. Bye-bye.